Hi, I am Nirmal Sarkar, and you are listening to the CryptoHub India Podcast. We are a group of crypto enthusiasts, and this podcast is nothing but a collection of our Clubhouse live sessions, where we discuss the latest crypto trends from India. Well, this also means you can directly participate on our Clubhouse sessions and become a part of our next episode. Come, join us. Visit CryptoHubIndia.com to get all our social links. Thank you.
Yeah, so Rich, I agree to that. I agree to all these values and stuff you mentioned, like why we are here and what we need to do, what is the problem, right? I agree to all that. I even agree that Bitcoin, because we are now in a digital world and everything is so digital, so we should start accepting digital assets and why Bitcoin makes that. I understand why it is so important and why it holds that value. But my only question is like, something which can be changed by people, right? How can I make it a national or an worldwide currency? There's no regulation framework around it, right? If something goes wrong, where I am going to complain against? That is my only concern over here. And like, I am a techie guy, I might still understand, but these questions might be in minds of very very non-tech savvy people, that they'll say, okay, my money got lost, I can go to bank, get it, but what will happen when my crypto will get lost or my Bitcoin will get lost? Where will I go? Right? For example, in US, Canada, if some fraud happens on my credit card, the banks are liable to pay me back, right? So because they go with that $100,000 or maybe $1 million insurance, which covers all such kind of fraud, so they will pay me back. But as a common man who is not that tech savvy and he loses his Bitcoin, where is he going to go? So I'm thinking from like an overall adoption, like how will that overall adoption happen? Because all
Well, it's the onus is all on us, and what we can do to ourselves, we can do to the rest of the world, right? Um, be the change that you want to see in the world. Who said that?
yeah,
There's a famous man who said that, right?
right.
So,
But again,
Mr. Gandhi.
Rish, but
yeah.
again, one thing. See, you are a good person. I am a good person, right? We all are good person. We are here to help humanity. We are here to serve humanity. But there are bad people also in the system, right? Like this entire Bitcoin thing is against those kind of bad system and bad thing only.
Which is what I'm trying to say. Which is what I'm trying to say. Which is why we need to propagate the fact that we need to use wallets. We shouldn't leave them on exchanges. The fact that exchanges are vulnerable to attacks. Exchanges are vulnerable to government, limitation. A host of other things. I don't know what else it could come under. We need to practice the fact that we need to move our currencies to hot wallets, cold wallets when you have a larger sum, and we need the best practices. So that comes. It's not easy. It's not given that a set of rules defined by government. This is what you should do. This is what, because there is no centralized entity here, and that's where it's a responsible community that helps other people deliver the message and deliver the best practices, safe practices. Because the unfortunate part today, that aside, we have sensationalized, our media sensationalized stories, like there are 400 million people today who have become Dogecoin millionaires. There are 200 people. I'm just using arbitrary numbers. These are not factual, by the way. You know what I'm trying to say, right? And unfortunately, people get into all of these coins and
exactly.
they get rug pulled. And that's the sorry part. And tomorrow, who these people who are actually, who thought they could make a quick buck or a fortune, I don't know what it is. In my view, by the way, it's just my personal view, this is a market which is only $3 trillion, right? Or close to $3 trillion. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for each one of us in this room to make generational wealth, even today. But if you make the most right choices, the most candid choices, take the right advice, take the right suggestions, do your own research, and invest from a value perspective, not to invest a lot of money into something which can have you rug pulled, just because the returns are so fantastic, just because you can buy half a quadrillion of coins. It's ridiculous. Yeah, some of these projects have the white papers, by the way, look so beautiful today. In fact, they look even better than Bitcoin white paper. for instance. But you shouldn't fall for all of these gimmicks. I think you should, take lead into something that is well established. Look at top 10, look at top 20. It is our responsibility to educate our people, our markets, to ensure they don't make, bad choices. They don't go down the wrong path, and they become negative towards this just because they've got rug pulled. But you can only help as many as you can. Some
Rish,
are
can
going
I
to go
chime in?
down the wrong path.
True, true.
Rish, may I chime in, please? Okay. Joshman, just to answer your part. Uh, okay, where to go? So this is the first time where the citizens of this world, now we understand we are part of globalization right now, and the rapid speed of technology with which we are moving, we are coming into a state of surveillance state. Okay, we have cameras on everyone's mobile right now, and we are giving that extreme power now slowly to the governments and corporates in in the name of artificial intelligence. So where are we heading? This will create a surveillance state. The real purpose of democracy was to have the power in the hands of people, and which is what is now being taken over slowly and slowly by these technological innovations. And this is where the Bitcoin's power is right now. Okay, so we as have to take, you know, responsible custodians. We have to become responsible custodians, and we have to ensure, there are consequences for not following the steps or process. So this blockchain itself, the concept of you sending wrongly some bitcoins to somebody and losing it, that is, you have been careless about it. Simple as that. There are consequences for wrongdoings. So till now in democracy, we try to create that awareness into the minds of people to take responsibly vote for the leaders. I don't know how many of us really, take that responsibility seriously and figure out who's the right person to vote in every election, right? So we're not coming
I,
together
I
as a
think we should
community.
start with voting first.
Yes, yes, that is the
That-
problem.
that's
That
the problem.
Bitcoin is actually trying to create that kind of a responsible behavior into minds of citizens. We cannot hand over, the freedom that democracy gives on a platter to government. Government is just set of people who are trying to know. It's again going to create a monopolized entity like we had a few years before democracy, how it was running. I'm seeing I mean, everyone says the world is now heading towards that way. Even CBDC is a surveillance coin. Okay, it gives absolute power. It gives, already we are seeing the presidents of China and Russia are now, how many years these two people are been presidents? More than 20 years now, 30 years. That is what socialism is. Is it right that those two people are have supposed to continue like that for decades? No, I mean, democracy gives that opportunity to everyone, and that is what Bitcoin also gives, an opportunity to everyone to control the government. And why should government continue to track these things? I mean, just how the gold is cannot be tracked, how much gold is there. I mean, gold was there even before democracy was created. So can anybody give an account of who owns that ancestral property of gold of several billions, right? Nobody knows that. So this is the power that Bitcoin gives to individuals. So we should take this very seriously. And Bitcoin also solves the problem of retaining capitalism. Okay, we cannot just let socialism come back into our lives, and how surveillance state of China comes back.
I think I think yeah, there are different ways. I'm in some rooms where they say Bitcoin is against capitalism. In some room they say Bitcoin is against communism. Bitcoin is against socialism. So I think political aspects everyone have their own. I have seen nowadays mostly the Bitcoins are held by people who are rich or big banks. They can buy. Only the miners who would have initially mined the Bitcoins when it was not that much popular, they might be having the Bitcoins, and I do not know what ideology they belong to. But if you see today's trend, right? Tesla, Michael Saylor, all these guys, this JP Morgan, whoever is coming into Bitcoin, they're kind of capitalist only. So I don't think it
True.
has anything to do with any political ideology or something. It is a good instrument which is kind of bringing awareness in people.
Joshman, it does show that China banned Bitcoin. It clearly shows it. Bitcoin is against socialism. So that is why government cannot control it. That's why they completely banned it. So it's an opportunity for the democracy and capitalistic
Guys,
people.
let me put it.
That's how we do.
Let me give you a slightly different twist. Okay, I've been thinking about this quite hard. Well, of course, Bitcoin is now owned the majority of 12 million Bitcoin, more than 50%, right? Are owned by whales. Right? These guys got into it very early. They realized the Rothschilds, the the rich and powerful. I don't know who they are, but they own the majority of it. They manipulate markets, just like the stock markets. The manipulation swings are crazy, absolutely crazy. Today there was a swing of 10%. I mean, you're not going to see such swings, but in stabilized markets, right? Stock market today, what Sensex, BSE Sensex was what I don't know 1,500 points. But what was Bitcoin? It was massive, right? The swing was much significant. My point is, I'm as much as I tend to sound like a Bitcoin maxi. To be really honest, I'm not. I think while Bitcoin is fantastic, it's superb as a depreciating asset class, and it's there for the long term. Guys who've gotten to it early. I'm not saying the whales, but people like you and me. It's fantastic for us. But I think there is an opportunity here to make generational wealth, not just from Bitcoin, but from those projects or from those companies, who are doing an amazing job. Like I think Ethereum takes the cake, at least so far, in terms of what this brilliant kid Vitalik Buterin achieved by creating the smart contracts and integrating it into the platform for DeFi, for smart contracts. I mean, the use case is so phenomenal. There is going to be many more. We are seeing this market cap, which is 2.7. In June it was 1.2 trillion. Now it's 2.7. In a matter of 10 years, I think it's going to cross easily $10 trillion, right? Much earlier than that. In a matter of the first $1 trillion took I'm sorry, the first $100 billion took about I think 6 or 7 years. Correct me if somebody knows the statistics correctly and the dates. The next $900 billion took less than, I think, quarter of the time. So what I'm trying to say is, for the path to $100 trillion, I don't think is going to be 100 years. I think it's going to be in the next 15 years, 15 to 20 years maximum. I don't think it's going to go beyond that. So what I'm trying to say is, here is an opportunity for all of us. If you're making the right choices, if you look at the right project and to invest on the right asset and or set of assets. I don't think we should just invest on one. Neither we should invest on 25 different ones. It's foolhardy to invest on so many. I think there is a fantastic opportunity for all of us, to make a lot of money, and to make a lot of money in the sense to invest and make generational wealth, not just for us, for our offsprings as well. Hey guys, anyway, so I've got to get going. I'm going to be around for another couple of minutes hearing you guys, but it's been fantastic sharing the room. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and over to you guys.
Thank you, Rish. You and your group has been doing awesome job, educating people about crypto. So, guys, if you don't know, Crypto CE is a very great informative group about crypto, and these guys are running their rooms day and night. And I think they have 100 or more than 100 moderators who start rooms. They kind of educate people on various topics like DeFi, yield farming, pools, rebates, and stuff like that. So follow their group, and you'll learn a lot.
Hey, anytime, Josh, man. Happy to help, anybody. Well, charity starts at home first, and therefore I'm dedicating a lot more time to my country now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Rish made a really good points. I think in terms of making money, definitely it has made a lot of people millionaire, multi-millionaire. In some cases, we have seen Bitcoin. So definitely that will stay at least for some time. But at the same time, the fluctuating nature that was we have been discussing, like in up and down 10%, 15%. It's not like your typical stock market, right? Where if it is down, then there will be a lower circuit, then it is up, then it will be an upper circuit, so that we won't see that much impact on the local population of any country. Like in case of India, we have both upper and lower circuit. In case if it like running like crazy, something happened, news or anything in the background, we know that the government will put an upper circuit beyond a point. Same thing will happen when it is falling. The government has shut down actually stock market for some time. In case of lower circuit too, because market has been acting crazy. So again, there are some safeguards for a normal investor, because normal investor, even though there are so many safeguards in your stock market, even after that, the normal investor right now lose lots and lots of, they have lost their generational wealth into the stock market. And if you realize in some of the crashes, and that's true, and that's the situation which is there for a normal layman. If you look at the normal IQ of an investor, I don't want to ridicule anyone, but it is not that great. Not everybody is a financial wizard. There are people, if there are 100 million wallets in India, I'm pretty sure that out of 100 million wallets, there would be just 1-2% of the people who would be actually able to realize a value out of it, or maybe able to make a bug out of it. Most of the things will die down in the fluctuation itself. They will just get scared. Oh, it's down by 10%. Let me sell it. So they will sell it for a loss. And even now, that thing is happening. I've met people, I've talked to people who have lost money in that, because again, they are the same people who lost money in the stock market too, right? But here again, are we saying that though it is open to a normal investor, are we saying that it is just the smarter ones who will rule the world, who will be the financial wizards and everything, and there would be no safeguard for such kind of investors? That's what the problem comes in, right? And again, you can put any number of regulation on it, but how will you control the fluctuation? But it is not controlled by one single country or one single entity. That's another problem. So this fluctuating nature, right? Whether it is a currency, whether it is an asset, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, that's the major problem. Even in terms of asset, no asset goes up and down like this. No. And again, at the same time, people who are sitting in the market, now the governments, even if it happens in any of the stock market or any other a commodity market, government always exercise their right and always exercise their power to shut it down, put up a lower circuit or an upper circuit, whatever the case is, right? So now that's how it is in terms of trading Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. There is no fluctuation. It is all based on the market. So if few investors, few people wanted to jack up price, they can always do that, and it will kill the local population. Imagine one tweet of Elon Musk can push Dogecoin price to a sky level. People started pouring in, people started buying. Imagine people who have taken an exit, and then people who failed to take an exit, and then it got crashed. What will happen to the money that the people have put in, who were just in a frenzy because their padosis and everybody is buying into it, right? Buying into that story. That's how the stock market manipulation happened. There is no SEC to check that. Did SEC, if he has done it with the Tesla stock, which he has done it, he got a notice from SEC. He's still going on to these hearings because he tried to do market manipulation with his tweets, Tesla tweets. He had been called up in a board. He had been like ridiculed in the board meeting itself. We know what happened, right? We know the repercussion that happened for his tweet where he was trying to manipulate the market, at least the Tesla stock. And he has done that multiple times with the cryptocurrencies now. Is there any action by SEC? Does SEC has a right to do that? People who have lost money in Dogecoin, does the SEC has a right to blame Elon Musk for that manipulation? Or is there a way to make Elon Musk pay a fine or put up a punishment against that? No. That's how the major problem comes in. If you are a person who is influential, if you have access to all the social media, then people listen to you, and imagine the few set of people who does that, and people hold that power. There are few set of people in the world that hold that power. Their value in the Twitter market and their value in the Instagram and the other market is very, very high as compared to a person who is sitting in a small town in India. Now, if that person put up a tweet, or if that person wanted to manipulate that entire market, they have all the way to do, and government has no way to safeguard that. If he has done that with Tesla stock, there would be an upper circuit the next day, which happened, right? And that has happened in the past as well for so many stocks. That's why there is an SEC. There is in case of India, there is SEBI, because these are the things that are tracked when it comes to stock. But at the same time, you can do any number of manipulation with your cryptocurrency, any type of currency, and people
Just
will
to
just follow
say,
that.
just to say in between, Ishwarji, very valid point that you made, that the stocks and everything, that government is there. What about MLM projects, and what about,
Yeah, see,
just to give an
example,
example?
I
One
I
second,
agree with
one
you.
second,
MLM
one second.
companies, which
One second, Ishwarji. Just to give an example, there was a company called QNet. It got transferred to Q Gold, in which Baman Irani kids, all celebrities that you know of, like it ventured in 4 years there, and then it was banned out of many countries in the Mediterranean. Even south states like I think Tamil Nadu and Kerala banned it after 4 years. Like this is a complete MLM project, and just venturing in like binary and networking, and like cases running in and nobody getting arrested. They were influential people, celebrities doing it, and people entering into it, getting their money. Like मेरे को मालूम है कतार ही कतार थी दिल्ली में, like सुप्रीम कोर्ट, and people like crying, like suicide committing in front of police station, government nothing doing about.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate. And look at the cases that happened with Sharda chit fund, right? A lot of
Exactly,
people lost their
exactly,
money in the Sharda chit
exactly.
fund also. And then there is another case of Pearl. If you know that case, the owner of that Pearl MLM was selling I don't know, land. It was an MLM scheme of selling land. You just do a Google search. I don't remember what their exact model was. He's still in there jail. Nirmal Bhangu something, that was the name of that guy. He's still in jail. He had duped so many investors. Look at Shubhato Roy, right? He spent his time. He paid his dues also, right? He had to sell many of his properties. He spent 1.5 years in jail. There are some influential people who get away with it, but still there are some people who get caught into it. Look at what happened to the Yes Bank guys, right?
Yeah, but you're talking about stocks.
Look at he was very influential. He
No, no,
was very
in stocks it is possible. Harshad Mehta, anybody, you're talking about
yeah,
stocks.
no, I'm
Like,
talking
but
about the
MLM
MLM
and
scheme like
everything.
Pearl. I have just given you an
Yeah,
example, right? Pearl was
like
another fraud which happened.
one in thousand, sir.
Sharda.
Like
Yes,
one in
absolutely,
thousand.
absolutely. There are multiple ways to get away from it. There are smart lawyers who find a way out of it. But again, there is a framework involved that keep these illegal activities at bay. Those companies are not operating right now, though they were able to get away with that money. Though they were able to get away with all these, whatever they have duped number of people, X number of people, but at the end of the day they are not operating, right? So imagine after having those fluctuation and people losing money in Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, they will operate even after doing all those activities. Once these Sharda chit fund or any other chit fund or any other scam come into light, they will shut down and run away. The problem is the government is not able to have a hold of these guys, but at the end of the day they are still not operational, right? At least you have a relief that no other person will put up a money again in this and get duped.
I
Because
just
people,
mentioned it's been
yeah,
functioning, it's still functioning. 6 years down the line, Shahrukh used to promote. 10 years down the line, it was Amir Khan who
yeah.
used to promote. You can search. It's the biggest scam in India. Q Gold
that's
or then Q.
that that's very unfortunate. Maybe some people have complained against it. Maybe they have a bigger ties, but at the end of the day, if they were found, there are many people who got cheated and they complained about it. Definitely some action would be taken, because I have not heard of the QNet or whatever the name that you're saying, but I know the Subrata Roy and all those big wigs, and even the Yes
Yeah,
Bank
they are
one.
all stock people. They are all stock
Yes Bank
people.
one, PMC
Yes.
guys, and that Pearl
Then
guy,
we have
Sharda
already
guys.
We have Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi doing the
Yeah, so
opposite.
every big wigs has been nailed. So
Yeah.
at least some or the other level, either they are not in India or they are like even this guy that other Mehul Choksi and all, they were
Exactly.
also running some kind of an MLM scam.
I feel that is the reason why I
Through their
mentioned.
stores.
That is the reason why I was putting up my argument when I mentioned senators and big corporates are neck deep into it. So I think when influential and powerful people get into it, it's very hard to get away with it. Like
Yeah,
it's the masses who lose money. It's the masses.
yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
this is exactly the reason, right? Ishwar, you're right. When you said that, it's very, very unfortunate things where people try to lose money. So I don't know if many of you have heard about this guy called Max Kaiser. He's a journalist who has been a pro Bitcoiner since when Bitcoin started. So this guy quotes that no other cryptocurrency deserves to exist in the space except Bitcoin. Okay, the blockchain and the Bitcoin concept was created for that to be completely decentralized and to be treated as what to become a currency, but right now it is a store of value. So because of this market manipulations, now the thing of swings that we say, there was an era for Bitcoin which was pre Michael Saylor and post Michael Saylor. Okay, the kind of education that guy gives, if you just listen to his binge watch his YouTube videos, I mean, it's a great educational content, and the clarity that he gives from all different aspects. Name it: physics, maths, economy. sociology, political. There are so many facets for Bitcoin actually, where he says so many things are being solved. So it is principled. It has some principles behind it, which no other coins can claim, no cryptocurrency can claim. Okay, so what I would say is, in the crypto world, the Bitcoin will be the only one that will remain or survive. All others will eventually fade away.
I think there are a few more people in the room. If they want to make a statement, like Chandu or Yoni have come up.
And
Sorry, I was in the other room. I'm listening on my headphones. Hey guys, loving the space and the discussion. This is Yvonne. And I love everything that you guys are talking about. And I just wanted to mention, because you sparked this in me in this discussion, I live here in the United States, but obviously that's why I popped in, because, the whole Bitcoin and cryptocurrency thing is a worldwide phenomenon that is, affecting everyone, whether positive or negative. And one thing that I just wanted to mention, as things are continuing to evolve now, we have the metaverse and all this kind of stuff, but related to what you guys were discussing, like with the MLM and all these other kind of things and some of these rug pulls and stuff like that. Me personally, it's unfortunate that those things happen, but I always try to look at the opportunity in things. And one of the things that I personally love about this space is because, by the way, I have a background. I used to live in New York for many, many years, and I actually worked on Wall Street. I worked in investment banking. I also did trading and stuff like that in the regular stock market. So I have a background in those kind of things. And my background, originally from Louisiana, I didn't know anything about the stock market. My family and my upbringing, they're in the South. A lot of people don't really talk about money and things like that, so I basically completely educated myself when I ended up in New York at a very young age. And, what was Wall Street all about, when I never even heard about Wall Street in my household when I was growing up. So for me, having that education that I got, being able to literally live in that environment and engross myself in that, that's one thing that I have noticed with the cryptocurrency era, like you guys are talking about. And I've actually mentioned this in other rooms, because I'm very, very passionate about educating people in this space, as I myself continue to get educated in the space, right? Bringing my background in the stock market and in trading and things like that with regular Wall Street related to this, but then also other things outside as an entrepreneur, like with MLMs and all these other kind of things. And what I kind of see it as is an opportunity to be able to educate people in the financial arena who don't have that kind of background, who don't have that education, because of the governments and the controlling of the money, or the people who are the whales and, who are the 1%ers and things like that, who have all of the wealth, that have the education, or in their household were around it. So at least they were privy to it to some who have the education to know a lot about these things. And what I've said to some people is, when you go to, most people on average do not trade in the stock market directly themselves, or even invest in a stock directly themselves. Most people use 401ks, they use Roth IRAs, they all hear about that through their companies and all this kind of stuff, but they themselves don't have the financial education in invest. And they literally just, kind of autopilot everything in. And what I personally am seeing as I'm being the observer in this whole space, that's why I like to pop into different rooms, right? Because we're all learning and growing with this, is that people, the average public who don't have that education, are starting to dive into some of these smaller, altcoins and all that kind of stuff, because they are seeing it as an opportunity to 10x or 100x or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not possible to do, but the problem is they have no educational background whatsoever in investing, which is why the SEC, because you guys were talking about that here in the United States, they regulate. I mean, if you're going to be a day trader, you have to have a minimum of $25,000 in your trading account, and you have to keep that $25,000 in your trading account to be able to trade throughout the day. So technically you have to have more than that, right? So there are all these rules and regulations there to help protect people essentially from getting into that so that they don't lose all of their money, which is what you guys are talking about. And what I'm finding is because anybody can go on, Coinbase.com or any of these wallets and any of these exchanges and buy these coins when they've never even purchased a stock themselves. And the reason I'm saying I see this as an opportunity from my perspective is because, and again, being very passionate about it, it's an opportunity for those of us who do have an educational background in investment banking, in the stock market, and all these kind of things, even though the cryptocurrency is still its own shebang, right? Let's just be real about that. To educate so many people who've never even invested themselves directly. So to be able to have the opportunity to educate them within the space, within managing their own money, within knowing compound interest, within knowing, how to do these things, when to get in and stuff like that, and be smart about it. So that's I just wanted to add, there's so much more I could discuss about it, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say about that, because I'm personally, I've literally said when I started learning all this stuff that I wish in the United States they have where, it's mandatory to learn a foreign language. And I'm not saying that's not important and relevant, but they don't have financial education. You learn English, you learn other languages, and they have all these courses even in high school. And yet, when you go off to college, you get a checking account or you can apply for a credit card, and no one even teaches anything about financial literacy in high school. So I'm actually kind of excited about it for that. It's unfortunate that people are jumping in that don't have that education, but it is an opportunity for those of us who do to be able to, help people out who want to jump into this space, to give them that education that they don't currently have, and it's not being offered in a regular standard school system. I'm assuming it's the same for India, and even in some of the poverty stricken areas in India, they don't have that information available to them. So that's why I feel it's so important to be able to educate them in this space so that they don't lose their money. I would love to hear anyone's thoughts on that. This is Ivana.
Yeah, it's awesome that you came here and try to tell some words which you want to educate people. Yeah, I am very glad that you are doing that. Thank you for that. And is Sundar who made
Yeah.
the point that except Bitcoin, another coin deserve to be existed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
So
yeah. Except Bitcoin has its value proposition, but other than Bitcoin, what are the other coins trying to do? Are they trying to be replace Bitcoin as in the sense as in a money, as in terms of asset, or are they decentralized businesses? If they are decentralized businesses, of course the blockchain. If you think the blockchain technology has a potential, there is a immense potential for the businesses. I'm not talking about the evaluations they have make sense or not. The point that which except Bitcoin another coin deserve to be existed, yeah, that's a little hyperbolic, don't
yeah, yeah, maybe you're right. So I just wanted to make a point that they should be coming under we should be treated as companies. Basically, they're coming up with use cases and applications which are similar to how companies are run, and they had their ICOs similar to IPOs. So which is that they had a pre-launch sales, discounted price offer to select few customers, and after that they launch it, and then they make it public. And this is exactly how companies go about starting their ventures. So that in the real world can be done with databases, which is being done already. Maybe the feature of smart contract is something that's part of Ethereum, which has brought it. Maybe that has a use case. So maybe they should be treated as companies rather and businesses rather than as currencies.
Yeah, and to add to that, I love that you said that, because here's the thing too. Again, some of these, the problem, like you guys said, is not having the regulation, right? Because there are some of these altcoins, some of these that come in, and they are doing these rug pull things. From a business perspective, though, there are companies, because any kind of startup company, when you're starting an entity, either you have to have your own funding, it's through your family or through yourself, or you try to get lending from a bank, but a lot of that is initial investors. And those investors have to be accredited investors. And once again, that goes back to they have to have, a certain amount of liquidity in their actual assets to be able to even invest in it. And that's why you have that, is to protect them when they do, if it's a company's private and it's a startup and they're raising funds for that. So the thing with the ICOs and with the altcoins and stuff like that is because it is an opportunity for other businesses who are getting started to be able to go to the general public. Now, again, if they have good intentions, right? I mean, like one personally that I'm invested in related to this subject is called Setama. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard about that. I personally am invested in it. I found out about it. And one of the things that I really love about it related to this topic is because they're doing initial funding. They have actual specifics that they're doing, but it is actually, it's an LLC entity where they're raising funds. Part of what they do is education in this space, and that's one of the reasons why I'm invested in it, because I'm passionate about the project. But essentially, instead of them going to accredited investors as private investors and having to pitch their books to be able to raise that fund, and the guy actually worked with Warren Buffett for many years, but not only is it an LLC, so they're an actual entity that is utilizing their coin to be able to raise capital to fund their business. So that's absolutely happening. And it's incredible because instead of being limited to only accredited investors with some of these people that are starting these altcoins, it's a way for them to have that, cash flow and to have that through the coins as a utility. I mean, there's so many levels to it. The unfortunate part about this is that, again, I know the research. I know how to do that research, but most people who see these things coming out, like Shiba Inu and things like that don't even have a utility foundation, and even Dogecoin for that matter, because it was kind of a spoof on Elon Musk. Now they're actually trying to utilize it as a utility, and it's starting to move in that direction. But I mean, a lot of these other ones that are coming out, because it got so big, now they're actually trying to do the utility in it. But initially, they didn't really have anything back behind it. So it was people like you guys are saying, just kind of phoning in and being like, oh, I heard about this thing and it might make you rich. And they're jumping in. And again, they don't know to look at the foundational background of what is this thing actually going to do? Are they going to do anything? Is it a corporation? And things like that. That's why it's so important to have the education. I mean, so I do think that some of these have the possibility and capability of being able to do that. And again, we're still at the very beginning. Only 4 to 5% of the world population is even in the cryptocurrency market, even though it's at such a high level of market cap. But I mean, that's just something else to keep in mind. And the problem is, without having some of these regulations, like you guys were talking about earlier, that's where some of the rug pulls and things like that come into play. So there is opportunity there. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
specifically not
fantastic, One.
agreeing.
The
Yeah.
way you articulated is excellent. I mean, you're putting in the right words, which in the way in the financial world, how they speak in the financial world. So we're glad, and it's really important that the education part is missing. The technology is running at the speed of light, and people still have to catch up, and we have a lot of work to do. And this is what I hear even in plenty of other Bitcoin spaces, where education is the key. We have to expand the knowledge across the masses as soon as possible, so that they don't get rug pulled here and there with these kind of things. So basically, these other cryptocurrencies they're just hiding behind the name of coins, but basically they're stocks or shares. And they're not calling it, and they're just calling it as.
Yeah, you are actually Sundar. You are halfway right there. I mean, like, yeah, everything is a decentralized businesses, whether they call it coin or they call it share, whatever it is. Right now, I mean, I think most of the space, even though they are running a decentralized businesses, which can come under the regulation. So, I mean, as long as they are completely decentralized and they want to use it like a coin or whatever they name it. So I mean, it's a easy way to move around. I mean, run around the regulations. But as you said, like, I mean, other than the Bitcoin, and if you see lot of other tokens or other coins, people are talking them as an assets. So I mean, like, if you look at them like a business and the business potential, And I mean, yeah, you can do you can do its own evaluations. But right now the space is not talking like that. The space is talking as if everything is assets in the crypto space. That's why, like, I mean, the education part, I mean, I can't pronounce her name, but yeah, and she and Sundar was talking about, yeah, education space, and especially this altcoin space. I mean, if we understand that 95% of all the altcoins are going to zero, and you are just investing in a random altcoin just because an opportunity saying that you can 10x your money, like within days or within months or in this cycle. So, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you are taking someone else's money. At the end of the day, it is going to be zero. So as long as it holds the value in the long term, so you are not creating any kind of value in the space, so you are not even grabbing any kind of value in the space. So that's why, like, I mean, a lot of people get wrecked in this in the crypto market, thinking that they're buying at the top, thinking that it will 10x more. I mean, it will go 10x even from there, from that point. Yeah, I mean, for that reason, education and looking at own research and learning about things is more very, very important before getting.
Yeah,
And
like
Mani,
education, and also mentioned, and somebody mentioned Saitama, I guess. So I guess yes, like me, and I can talk about Joshman. We have watched Saitama, I think, and Yoni mentioned like we were there in the rundown room. I guess we have been following them for a couple of months, or maybe 3 4 months back. So T-back and stuff. Yeah, so it's a good project, and me and Manish have bought something, I guess, with Saitama.
yeah, I think if you look at from the average investor point of view, right? My team has been doing a lot of projects for wealth management. I primarily work with banking, blockchain, AI, these technologies. So we've done a lot of projects for wealth management department also, and we have done this Robo Advisor project where we create these Robo Advisor that advises how to make their portfolio, make customers, how the customers can make their portfolio, how much stock they can keep, how much gold and commodity and the property and all those things. It will take some of the information from you, and then it will spew that this is the right portfolio for your age, demographic, and whatever wealth and financial literacy that you hold. So as part of some of these solution within India as well as within US and Europe, we have done it across India, across the world. So we usually map investors and see how much financial literacy is there, and the data is available with the banks, and data is available with some of the executives and the teams who are running these shows, right? And with the RMs also, the advisors who typically are in this job. And it is not surprising to know that at least 95% or 96% of the investors who are using the services, who are even not using the services as well, the general amount of financial literacy, not only in India, but in US and the other countries as well, is very, very low. So they don't know what most of the assets that they are buying, what does that even mean? That's the problem. They are buying the stock. If you ask why they have bought this company stock, because they usually do as part of their surveys, and they don't have an answer to that question as well. The answer would be, my uncle has told me to do so, my aunt has told me to do so, or my friend has told me to do so. Because as a general population, if you see the, I don't want to say the IQ level, but the investor information level, that is so low that you can't put everybody in the same bracket. Even if you say top of your voice that everybody should be financially literate and everybody should know all these things, and I know we all should take a pledge that today we will educate everybody that we will meet in our path, that how they can do the investment, safe investment. Even then it is a very difficult job, because people has been trying to do for years, banks has been trying it to do for years. RBI has a separate department called CEPD, which is Consumer Education and Protection Department. They are doing a lot of campaigns and mutual fund sahi hai and all those things that are happening for years. But at the end of the day, if you look at the IQ level of a general investor in any country, I'm not even zeroing India in this case, any country, because we have done it for global wealth management player as well in US. So I know the kind of persona that we made, right? The archetype that we made for a general investor. We know that how what are the number of people which falls under the low financial literacy bucket, and it's very very huge. Not everybody is Ben Graham, and not everybody is Warren Buffett, right? So if I read Intelligent Investor yesterday, then next day suddenly I won't become a value investor. It requires multiple years of practice and acumen to do that. I am, if that's the case, then I've read it like 20 years back. I would have been a financial wizard. But that's not the case, right? That's not the case with most of the people, right? It's also about how you use your knowledge in the general market. I've seen smartest people losing money. Forget about the people who are illiterate. They will lose their life savings. They don't even know that this much amount of money that they have to invest in, this is how they have to make the portfolio, right? Which is a low risk portfolio. They will have 20 rupees, or they will have like 10,000 rupees. They believe that somebody is saying that it can double overnight. They will put it into a shady coin, and then they will lose all. That's how the basic investors thinks. That's how the chit fund and all the other things propagate their education, that yeah, invest in this so and so called investment scheme, and tomorrow your money will get doubled, or within a month your money will get doubled. And they will show you all these graphs and all these testimony from people that it has done it wonders for them, and it will do wonders for him, you also. So that's the case with the general investor. Even though whatever mode of medium you try, how much you want to educate people, but at the end of the day, if you look at the basic average level of education for an investor is pretty low. And that's the number coming from most of the wealth department of most of the banks who are in the advisory, in this advisory. That's why there are cases, even if you have an advisor, there are issues that happen with your own personal advisor, because you have to check your advisor too, whether they are advising you right or wrong. So if you go to any of the transaction platform, you have to tick mark that option that you have taken advice from an investor, from an advisor or somebody else, because they wanted to see whether you have been guided correctly. And that's why the brokerage are tracking all these things, and that's why even the wealth departments are tracking these things. So from that point of view, we have to be careful. People who are educated, who have done their research, even after that there are chances that they will not be able to make money in this, right? But at the same time, people who are lucky, people who knows their stuff, there are people who has done that, people who had made by millions over it. Definitely there are chances as well, but that cannot be true for everybody who is jumping on these things. That's how the bubbles are created. That's how the dot-com bubble was created in 2000, where people were thinking that the digital will take over and everything will be digital, and you will have website everywhere. Every company will have websites, and every company will have all the digital products. And then suddenly the entire digital market came down, and that's called the 2000 dot-com bubble. Same thing happens with the your 2018 real estate, when the prices were going up and up and up, and suddenly it got crashed. So that's how the bubbles are created, when you have so many people blindly going after so and so things, and then it was believed that it will always go up, and then suddenly it goes crashing down. So that's how we have to be real careful as an investor, right? And whenever we are on the forum, when we are on the open forum, we are suggesting people something, there we have to be a little careful what words we are saying. Maybe there are somebody who will put in their life saving after hearing us, and they will lose their money and then blame it on us. So that's something that we have to be careful.
Absolutely. Who is that? Sistla? I don't know if I said that right, but you and my.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna share my thoughts on what was said earlier. Yeah, very nice, Ewan. It was great to hear your thoughts. Yeah, as Ishwar said, well, very well, or sorry, as Sundar said, very well articulated. And yeah, thanks for being here. So yeah, there was a discussion on other coins and altcoins. So I just wanted to share my 2 cents or 2 sats on this. So quickly, like I personally believe that the other tokens, they might look like businesses, but they're bootstrapped in an entirely different way. From how companies are bootstrapped and launched. So that being said, company is a model that has been established like 200-300 years ago, 400 years ago maybe, and has evolved since then. So it is very robust in being able to bootstrap an idea, or an innovation, invention, a business, distribution channel, whatever it might be. So keeping that in mind, right, like the other, maybe the 5-10% of the folks in crypto uh, are actually building public goods, right? Like open source tools, sovereign systems, any of the chains that are used in the enterprise world, they're primarily originated, their roots are somewhere in open source. So, eventually all these systems will evolve, and every organization might want their own chain and so on and so forth. So, when we are building such tools, community based bootstrapping is important, and that has been a model that has been ignored by technology since a very long time. The illusion was only money or currency. Yes, all these are assets in one way. Personally I look at a lot of these tokens as assets, because that's where I believe there'll be growth. I might not know the next, I might not know stocks, I might not be an accredited investor, but I might understand, who a creator is. I might be able to bet on him, using social. I might be able to bet on, blockchain projects if I'm aware of the community and the technology, right? So there is an opportunity, right? Like, and as everyone said, literacy is very important, and it is important that we educate people on this. But it's not to discard the guys that are actually building in the space. Most like Bitcoin is just like has a ledger of the transactions. Ethereum, as everyone knows, has like a programmable layer, EVM, and then there are other systems and chains too. So this way we are enabling building public goods that will push the way forward, right? Linux, without having any of this, achieved a lot. And right now, as we know, the power composability of Linux, 98% of like world servers run on Linux. So keeping that in mind, pushing this massive push towards building public goods, open source technology, right? Even Tesla's entire car should be open source. That's what I believe. We'll see how that works. But when that's done, anyone can build their own EV, right? Like if they have those resources, or they can build like modified better versions, invest more efforts into safety. An NGO can invest into something else, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of opportunities, and if we look at these tokens less like businesses and more like being able to progress towards having these public goods available to all of us, I think that'll be a very optimistic future. Definitely, that's like an ideal state, but it is definitely valuable, and the participation, your participation also becomes much more interesting and less speculative. Right? So yeah, thank
Yeah, and something related to I love this discussion, you guys. It's so important to have these discussions because it is all of this stuff is very new. It is a movement within the human consciousness of how everything is going to be shifting, and God bless that man for creating this because it was meant to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how things unfold. But related to what you guys were saying in regards to the currency, and here's another thing that's fascinating, right? Because again, I with my background, I research everything, so. And I'm always forward thinking. And I've actually been blessed with the opportunity to work with very wealthy people, multi-millionaires. I've even had the opportunity to work with a billionaire for a period of time. And that was an incredible education, even though I was supporting him in some things. And but to the fact of, again, educating people in the space, that's why it's so important, because wealthy people do know how to do a lot of this stuff, but also the forward thinking of people within this space. Because I mean, I know you guys, I'm assuming, right? And I think I read in a couple bios, are privy to the metaverse and that whole thing happening. And man, I've been diving into that. And I mean, it's kind of crazy when you start diving into some of that stuff. But I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard about Sand, which is the sandbox, and then Mana and things like that. Again, going back to things creating their own currency in these, all of that being based on obviously Bitcoin being the king with things like that, right? Like the US dollar, or I think it's rupees for you guys, and like the yen and stuff like that. But what I find fascinating about this, and again, this is kind of out there, but that's what's happening within this space. And now with the metaverse, is it with Sand, they have their digital currency with that, and they're actually utilizing that. And I'm sure you guys have heard this on some of their platforms, so people can go on the sandbox, and they're in a working, and Facebook, obviously they mentioned that with the metaverse and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a movement of these things that are coming, and we're at the beginning of this stuff. And with Sand, they're actually and their metaverse space, like Adidas actually did Sand Coinbase. I seen Sand thing, and actually search, people are buying this virtual real estate land, and some of that stuff, honestly, I mean, like it can like totally be overwhelming when you're learning all these new things within that space and stuff like that. But it's moving very, very rapidly. And what I find interesting in that is, even though Bitcoin was one who started this initial move, that is what I'm kind of seeing happening, is where some of these other things are creating their own platform. Now I do feel, and their own currency, that Bitcoin, obviously, because it's the foundation, kind of like gold is for the dollar here, right? So but what I've noticed in that is they're having, where they essentially on that platform, they're having their own currency. That's what's happening with some of these things. So people that go on this Sand, they have a gaming platform there, where when you go into it, they're actually releasing it on Monday, on the 20th, and they're alpha stage, where people are actually able to get into this program and kind of feel it out. But the gamers, so people are in there creating virtual metaverse worlds. They're gaming in these spaces, and the people who are the ones who are testing it out before it's officially launched to the public in the alpha testing are
You're
literally
cutting out, or is it for
generating.
me only?
Oh, I'm sorry.
सबके साथ हो रहा है.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that better? Oh, I see my
No,
little connection
we are
thing here.
losing
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. Now it's better. Yeah. Weird. I only have one bar. They don't like that I'm talking about this. But with Sand, they have where when you're in that space, you're actually earning their currency in that space to be able to exchange things in that space. Now, also, you obviously end up selling that currency that you're earning within that space. So the gamers are playing the game in the space and earning that crypto within that space. Now, if you can obviously trade that yourself and sell it and then buy Bitcoin or what have you, or trade it back to the US dollar. But I find that fascinating, that these other platforms are basically generating, or creating rather, and then generating their own currency. Like with BAT, that's another one. BAT is the ticker, and that's actually they're working with the Brave network, which is a browser that's really big into privacy, and the Brave network has adopted that people who actually watch ads on there are able to generate the BAT coin or token, and every time they see an ad and things like that, for actually spending time on that space. But in addition to that, they're also having that anyone that wants to advertise on that space uses BAT as the currency to be able to advertise on that space. So just in the forward thinking of how things are progressing, and again, it's happening really, really fast. I find that fascinating, in lieu of how they're kind of creating their own currency through these crypto tokens that they're creating for these different platforms. I'd love to hear anyone's input.
Thank you for your inputs. I think you need to charge your phone, right? That's what you say.
No, I'm kind of, I always have it charged. It was my darn connection. Sorry about that.
Okay. Where are you? Are you in US?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, United States.
Oh, I hope you don't use AT&T. That sucks. I used to use it, and I feel T-Mobile is better. Okay, let's move to Ankit. We have two Ankits. I was away for a while, so I do not know if the green Demon Ankit has gone. Little Demon Ankit, have you already made your points, or?
No, I don't think Flaker has gone away.
Oh, ये
Flaker
Flaker है
hasn't
क्या?
spoken yet.
Oh, okay.
Mm, he's shaking. He's there to listen, I guess.
Yeah, that demon is
Okay.
very cute. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a cute
exactly.
demon. Yeah, Ankit, yeah. You should at least put Flaker, You are our own person.
No, if you
Okay.
if you hop in, then you can see Flickr.
Yeah. I didn't see that. Okay.
Vivon, just to add a point, I'm a pro
Sundar.
Bitcoiner. I don't discuss about any other altcoins. I'm not into them. And guys, thanks a lot for this opportunity. It's quite late for me, and I'll be going to bed. It was a
Great,
fantastic
Sundar.
space.
Okay, have a
Yeah,
great night, Sundar.
yeah.
Yeah, I wish you invest in altcoins and make more money than the Bitcoiners. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Yeah, thank
Okay,
you,
And
Ishwar.
thanks for
And
all the information, Sundar. Thank you.
yeah,
thanks,
you guys
thanks.
are
Yeah, thank you,
welcome.
Sundar. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
We have Rocker Nova, Shishir Chauhan. Rocker, I'm not sure if you have already gone. I was out for a while. Do you have any points here to add or Sushin? Okay, I think people have slept. You guys are on mute if you're trying to speak.
No,
Ravi is also
it's like
sleeping.
one. No, 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 no. I was awake. I was listening to all this conversation,
Okay.
and
You know,
I, I,
this was
This
a
was
very,
more like
very balanced
sleeping
discussion.
cheetah. Sambit was like sleeping cheetah. He's with
no,
the
no, no,
wicked
no, no. I
smile
was
in the
fully
eye.
awake. I was fully awake. I was doing some transactions and all. I just came back, and when the discussion turned into this capitalism and socialism, that was like wow. Then
So, yeah,
a lot of things. I think Yon also said a lot of things. I mean, Ishwar. I mean, yeah, I was completely blown by his perspective. I mean, yeah, that was a nice one.
yeah,
Well, I think money
Ishwar,
joined late today, but also money was good. I mean, he spoke for lots of less. I mean, very less time. Yeah, but thank you, Joshman. You like single-handedly moderated it very well, kind of.
no,
Yeah.
man, that's okay. Yeah, like Ishwar actually, when I was listening to Ishwar, he was giving balanced view because what he was saying, like he was saying practical things, like when something has to become real, what challenges would be there. So that was a good perspective to hear today. And Mani, were you here when Sundar was, kind of comparing Bitcoin as a victory for capitalism? Were you here in this room?
I mean,
Actually, what
Yeah,
I
I
feel
have
is that
actually.
when they go for this proof of work, right? So when they go for this proof of work, they tell that you do the work, you get paid in Bitcoin, so that is a sign of capitalism.
No, no,
I
no, no,
don't know
no.
how.
That was not the argument. So what he said.
Exactly, I understand. He went like 2 steps, 3 steps, or 10 steps ahead,
no,
and
it was like
China.
China banned it, so it's
Yeah.
capitalist.
exactly. Socialist country banning Bitcoin. That is why it is
So
capitalistic.
Is
why
the question directed towards me, right?
yeah,
No,
why
no,
I
no, no.
especially asked Money was because in another room when I and Money were there, maybe this was the same room but another time, Money saw the Bitcoin from a different perspective. Like something, maybe I may be wrong, but like I was getting an impression that he's saying Bitcoin is against capitalists, and here Sundar came and he said Bitcoin is pro-capitalist, and so it would have been very nice to listen both of your discussions if you were together. Uh,
Yeah, actually, Sundar is not wrong. Like, how people perceive capitalism, communism in terms of boxes
Exactly.
is a very wrong thing. Right now, like the people who oppose capitalism, you go on look at people who are against capitalism. There are some literal communist people who think that private property is itself is a bad thing. So, I'm not talking about those people, but most of the people who are anti-capitalism, in a sense, they always see how the rich people are doing these things and that things. But rich people are doing those things because the government has the power, and government is giving power to them. So whenever you give the control to the government, the biggest beneficiaries of that power is the richest people and the crony capitalists. And in fact, the people who are pro capitalist, in the sense, the real who people who say that pro free markets, I always use terms free market as a good indicator, not as a capitalism in the word. So the people who are pro free markets are, in general, they also point out all the time, they also point out the same thing. See how these people are getting, how these corporations are getting benefits from the government. So what the government is doing is, government gives a big set of regulations or all this kind of nonsense, and it exempts few people from it. So what it essentially doing is, government is picking up who is the winner, who is the loser. In the terms of the currency also, whenever the government prints money, the government gets the control of the money. Whenever the government gets the control of the money, most of the benefit of the money goes to the crony capitalists. So if the Bitcoin comes into the place, Bitcoin removes the power from the government, so it will remove the power from the crony capitalists. So that's what the common cause of say 95% of the population will be happy that like Ambani and Adani doesn't get a special privileges from government or any kind of rich people. So I mean, yeah, Sundar is coming from a capitalist point of view. Yeah, I'm coming from a like
Socialist point of
yeah,
view. Yeah,
I'm just frustrated about the politics. The people who the left and right, and these are all stupid people. They always focus on stupid things. So yeah, Sundar is coming from the other way. Yeah, Sundar.
I think, well, yes, exactly what Sundarji mentioned, no? Like about that with the decentralization and the true capitalism, the true capitalism is still not witnessed by people. So that is one take and theory on decentralization and Bitcoin.
So,
And I think Sundarji
so
was
give
mentioning
me one.
one
Okay,
of
give
them.
me. Okay,
But
I'll put one
and one,
example.
and one thing which
Yeah, I
I
think
would like, one thing which
yeah,
I would like to add on top of this is please don't call China a socialist.
yeah, they
It's
are
it's
not.
it's too into communist,
Yeah, yeah,
not a socialist. Do not use that word.
yeah.
Completely centralized. So Jack Ma and other private ownership and like the this that thing is not there. Monopoly. So use. I come from a history background, so yeah, don't use the word. So
So tell me one thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
China is authoritarian. I mean,
yeah.
it's like most of the authoritarian, and I mean that's why capitalism and socialism, these boxes doesn't go well when we are discussing situations. I mean, it's all about authority. Who has the authority and who is giving the authority? And if the government decides to be ultimate authority and control each and everything, it is impossible to control each and everything and do everything right. For example, Soviet Union, I mean the Soviet Union, the bourgeoisie of the biggest, no, not bourgeoisie, there is a name for the bureaucracy. They will decide how many belts this year has to be made, how many like some items has to be made. I mean the government will they will put up the commissions themselves, and they will decide what has to be produced in this country and who has to be produced in this country. And like I mean, if anybody produced at least a little bit more than limit, they will be criminally liable. I mean, this is the same system India has been used under Indira Gandhi. Like I mean, it was like
One
anybody who
second,
made
money. Yeah, please
Money,
don't
money.
take
Let us,
any
let us,
names. The
let us.
replays are on. Okay, just don't take any names. No businessman, no government.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Please.
no
We
names, no
don't want
names,
to get
okay.
into
But
politics.
if government
I
decides,
understand. I mean, I understand. We some of us will like be with you, or some of will not be with you. But yeah, we get get everything.
I mean,
Anyway, so Ishwar,
I, yeah, so I was just wanted to add some closing remarks. So if you look at China perspective, right, they are not true socialists. There are businessmen, there are businesses that are thriving. They are okay to earn their capital, though there are some restriction. You can say that there is a authoritarian regime, like Sambit or somebody else mentioned, but they are not socialists at all. So again, the question or the comment on because Bitcoin is banned by China, so it make it capitalist. I think that's not a good argument. But yeah, the idea of having a free market, which is a definition of capitalism, having a free market where you are allowed to make as much as you money as you want without any restriction or without any questions around it, or without you being ridiculed by the local population or being jealous by the local population. I think that's a definition of a true capitalist society. So as Bitcoin, I don't think so there is any regulation or anything. It's a kind of a free market itself. So I think that puts it in the definition of capitalist, right? So I think that would be a logical definition. But from I think the other coins and apart from Bitcoins, those who are wanted to land and expand in their own area, maybe have some loyal base or loyal following. At the end of the day, it is up to the investors. There are people who will back one or the other coin, and there are people and believers who are either believing in Elon Musk or any other billionaire who has a good say in the market, and they might be able to promote some of the altcoins as well. But at the end of the day, most of these altcoins, along with Bitcoin and the other whatever the market is being created, few will survive and most of them will shut down. This is similar to any enterprise or any product, right? At the end of the day, you will find that it is not that everyone is doing the same kind of business. You will have few that has survived that chasm, few have fallen into that. So similar to your startup average, right? Not all startup succeed. There are few fail. There are few that rises up. But you as an investor, if you have put in your money, your hard-earned money in some of the altcoins, which again doesn't have much future, and it is just the pure manipulation that is being going on at that moment when you have purchased it because of somebody has influenced you to do that. I think that would be something which you have to be a little careful about. And again, on the Bitcoin as well, it's been 11 year, it's running, it's been successful in many aspects. At the same time, government earlier, if you look at from their perspective, usually they are very late to most of these regulation. Same thing happens with social media companies. I don't want to name any, but when the regulation come to how they can collect data, and then there was laws that were passed in Europe and the other countries. India also is going to have their own version of data privacy law. So again, at the end of the day, government is always far behind when it comes to putting up a regulation. But when they come in with brute force. That's what happened in most of the cases. And again, in terms of ban, especially in India, government is not afraid to ban anything. That I have already seen. And there would be hue and cry definitely that will happen, but government always have a way to control that as well. So definitely, if you as an investor, you have to think through very hard how the next couple of months, weeks, or even years would be for any of the cryptocurrency or a coin if you are investing in it. What I feel is NFT is something that can be easily legalized because it will have a smart contract, then you can link it with the real life contract. It is easier to put a legitimacy to that, and you as an investor will find a way to get it legalized because it is backed by an actual IP or an actual product in the background, right? Or a digital product, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it has something in the background. So NFT is something which I feel would be there. Metaverse, definitely, it is not that we were not using the online form of paying in our video games, which are which are kind of a universe on their own. Whether it is Leagues of Legend or any other mobile platform gaming, which has their verse within that around Fortnite or whatever you want to call it. People were paying earlier through PayPal, and it is okay to do that even now as well. I don't think so. Bitcoin is essential for the metaverse to survive, right? From that point of view. So again, there are alternative payment methods which are proven to be successful, and people are using that for years to pay it online too. And there are wallets, there are other ways as well to convert your regular currency into a digital format. And then there are ways to transfer to. So from that point of view, I don't think so. Crypto is something which is like a very, very essential for the metaverse to survive. So I think even that connection is illogical if somebody is doing it. But yeah, so given that it's been 11 years and there are a lot of backers and people have put in their hard-earned money, Bitcoin, so it will not be an easy fight for any government. But yeah, there will be a definitely two-side fight. At least the currency part will die down. Asset is something which at least I'm hoping that some white paper came in where it is able to explain within financial instrument how Bitcoin qualifies as an asset, right? So if there is a white paper there available, and if somebody is able to write that in next couple of years or couple of months, definitely that will provide some kind of backing to the government or to the central bodies like RBI to go back to that paper and just refer to that what logic has been followed in that, and they can make a case out of it. And if it is recognized by a large number of central bank, definitely our central bank will recognize that too. But at the end of the day, it totally depends on how the next couple of months will be. Right now, it is not looking positive, to be fair. Yep.
Thanks, Ishwar. Thanks for your inputs and whatever points you made today. And this was a I know a great discussion, like one of the good sessions we had in Clubhouse. I think I remember one which was with Sriniji, and now today There were many people and with different views, and everybody was so disciplined listening to each other, which we really appreciate. So thank you, Ishwar. Have a great night. Yeah, I think it is pretty late in India now, and I don't see any hand raises. So if someone has any question, concern, comment, last minute opinions, then raise your hand. We'll bring you up, or anyone in the speaker panel wants to add something, or else we will close this room in 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is Yvonne again. Thanks, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for the space. Yeah, it's like 1:00 in the morning for you guys, right? And thank you so much for this space because, again, it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold. And even though I have some experience, like we're all still learning. I'm still learning as things are evolving and changing. That's why I think it's so important to pay attention to, to listen to everyone's different perspective and viewpoint as things are progressing. So I just want to thank you guys for your input and everything and have a wonderful evening. And I appreciate the space and I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan.
Can I ask you something? How to pronounce your name?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's Yvonne.
Oh, Ivan, I'm so sorry. I was saying, I think I was pronouncing Yoni or something. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Ivan,
no,
right?
that's all right. I'm terrible at things like that, so it's all good.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, and I think you're celebrating Thanksgiving today, right? In US? Or is
That
it? Oh, it
was
was yesterday.
yesterday, actually. So
Yeah. Hope you had a great day yesterday, and I think this will be a long weekend for you.
Yeah, we're doing the
Great.
Black Friday shopping and everything. I'm always
Wow. Yeah. Great.
it.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah. Thanks for joining the room.
Yeah, blessings to everyone. Thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful evening and a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Belated
It is 1 a.m. In India, it is 1 a.m. So yeah, we are not against
It's good morning.
having a
Good
night.
morning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's
Good
1
morning.
o'clock, right?
It's 1:15 a.m. And we guys gonna crash on the bed as soon as the session ends. So very, very one of the best sessions at Clubhouse today. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, let us close this session. Thank you, Sumant. Thank you, Ravi.
Ankit,
Thank you,
Ankit, are you trying to say something?
No, thank you, sir.
You're laughing. Thank you, guys.
Goodbye.
Have a great night. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You were listening to the CryptoHub India podcast. Do follow us wherever you are listening so that you get notified about the latest episodes as soon as they're out. We are active on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, and Clubhouse. Visit CryptoHubIndia.com to get all our social links. This is Nirmal Sarkar signing off. Thank you.